Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today it is that time to go over my Sephora sale recommendations. So the sale happens twice a year and I will put the dates on the screen, but this is where you can get 10, 15, or 20% off depending on what tier you are at Sephora. And then also Sephora collection is 30% off for everyone. So all the information will be down below in case you want to look at the dates, but I like to go over my top picks, the best of the best. I'm going to try to stick to mostly new products. If something really is still calling to me and I feel the urge to share it with you, I will include that, but I'm gonna be moving quickly. We have a lot to go over. Of course, I will link everything that I talk about down below as well as on the screen. And let's go ahead and get into what I recommend for the Sephora sale. Starting out with perfumes, I only have two to mention. If you are a gourmand lover, these would be my top two picks because I do love a really sweet fragrance. So my first fragrance is the 7 Virtues Strawberry Jam. I instantly fell in love with this. It is a really sweet, kind of vanilla whipped marshmallow strawberry, but it has that jamminess to it that just makes it a little bit more special. It's really a beautiful, fruity strawberry, but it does have that dry down that to me gives it that really soft, kind of warm feel. This is very similar to Kayali Bougie Marshmallow, but I would say a little bit juicier, a little bit more jammy. I would say even a little bit more lasting power as well. So this one is a top pick. I loved it immediately. And then my second pick surprised me, but this is the Sol de Janeiro Limonada Gelada Perfume Mist. I think this is so delicious. I find myself like drenching my body in this and I just think it smells incredible. So it has notes of coconut milk, brown sugar, and Brazilian lemonade. I would say that if you're expecting a lemonade scent, it's not that. To me, it's a very sweet, gourmand, fluffy type of scent, but that brown sugar gives a little bit of a different effect. It's not like the typical sunscreen sort of coconut. And I think there's like a little droplet of the lemonade in there. It is a yummy, just sweet skin scent with a hint of that citrus, but if you're expecting like full lemonade, it's not that. It's more of a gourmand. If you like something like Sniff Extra Whip, but you want something a little bit more summer focused, I think you would really like this type of scent. And then in terms of foundations, I only have one that I wanted to mention. The Lawless Forget the Filler. I absolutely love this foundation, but my biggest gripe is the shades are way off. So I have the shade 2.5F. I'm wearing it right now. I did add a little bit of my LA Girl mixer in to kind of settle it down because they just run so dark. So I do plan to get a lighter shade during the sale, but I actually really like the formula. It's very thin. I find that it's not a flat matte to where it's making you look dry, but it wears well. It has great coverage, very smoothing on the skin. So I actually really, really like this formula. It would be my favorite formula or new pick from Sephora, but the shades are just really, really confusing. But in terms of the formula, I just feel like it looks really, really nice. And I find myself mixing with it a lot and just using it to kind of cut maybe other matte foundations that are a little bit too drying. Moving on to concealer, I actually have two to mention that are new, and they are some of my favorite finds since the last sale. So the first has to be the Charlotte Tilbury. I know a lot of people are talking about this for good reason. This is an incredible formula. If you want coverage, you don't want that heavy, sticky feel. You want something that's smooth, but also plays well with powder, wears all day, is not drying. Highly recommend this. I need to get a lighter shade because I was sent these and they are quite deep, but I have to say that I wore this when I went to Mexico all over my skin. So I just took the wand out and put like 2 swatches on my hand and just covered my entire face with it and then set with powder. And I swear it looked great all day at the pool and I was sweating. Truly love this formula. I would say that it's not necessarily hydrating, but it doesn't, you know, cling or add dryness. It's just the perfect like thin consistency with super high coverage. So absolutely top recommendation. And then if you want something that's a little bit less coverage but more brightening, the Patrick Ta. I absolutely love this. It has more of a thin whipped feel, and it does feel like it's almost set when you do blend it out. So if you're somebody that doesn't want to use a lot of powder, or if you like something that has more of that like whipped kind of blurred effect, this one is it. I don't think that it's hydrating, but I don't think that it clings either. If I were to tell you between the two, I would say the Charlotte is a little bit more hydrating, where this one is more just like blurring and kind of brightening. So I love both of these. Patrick Ta has a little bit less coverage as well, but I do enjoy both of these. And then a holy grail for me, I do need to repurchase the Bobbi Brown corrector. This is how much I have left. I use this every single day to cover up my microblading. I have the shade Light Bisque. This is an incredible under eye corrector. I find that it has the perfect tone. It's not sticky. It reminds me of the Becca under eye brightener without the tackiness, without the illumination, and with a little bit more coverage. So if you like the look of that, but you felt that it was too sticky or it had the illumination, not enough brightening, this truly is very high coverage, but thin and layerable. So this has been in my favorites or my recommendations for years, but it's something that I keep top drawer and use every single day. Moving on to bronzer, I have two new formulas to talk about. So the Dior Bronze Skin Bronze Stick, I absolutely adore this. This formula is phenomenal. I love the packaging as well, but I just love how this has the perfect amount of pigment. I find that it does have a hydrating feel to it, but once you blend it out, it's just very thin and weightless. It works well with powder. It just has the easy consistency. You really can't mess this up. Now I have the shade 03, which is more of like a cooler shade, but I've heard that all of the other shades run quite warm. So I'm actually gonna pick up, I wanna say shade 4, because I would like to have something that has a little bit more warmth to it to have the best of both worlds. I do like a little bit of warmth, but if you're looking for just a gorgeous formula, very easy, buildable, not glittery, but not like flat matte and makes you look, you know, chalky, I absolutely love this. I mean, so much so that I'm going to purchase another shade. And then powder. I have talked about this, but I'm gonna talk about it again because the Givenchy Prisme Libre powder is so beautiful. This is the bronzer in 02. I think this is so stunning for that really nice, warm, sun-kissed glow. I find that because 3 of these are matte and then one has a little bit of a satin finish, it just has the perfect amount of glow to where you're not getting glitter or it's not enhancing your texture, but it's not flat. So it really does make you look bronzed up like you've been on vacation. And I find that it is a little bit more buildable. So if you are in doubt, maybe go up a shade. But I absolutely love this. Every time I wear this, I just feel like it brings me to life. It does have the Givenchy scent, but again, it dissipates really quickly because it's a powder. And then an oldie but a goodie that I use all the time, probably my most used, is the Say Dew Bronze in Swim. This is such a thin formula. It is really warm though, this color in particular, so I really like it for making me look like a little bit more tan than I am usually. And it is more of a dewy formula, but I think because it's so thin and it's not sticky, it really does play well with powder. So I never have issues with this. Absolutely adore this. I've really fallen in love with this and absolutely have this in my bag at all times. Next, let's talk about blush, one of my favorite categories. I actually am proud of myself that I only have 2 new formulas. I am loving so many different blush formulas, but honestly, like the Tom Ford blushes are incredible and you can't get them at Sephora. So some of the stuff is just not available there, but these new shades from the Armani Luminous Silk Cheek Tints are everything. I cannot stop wearing the lightest shade on my lips. These are such a beautiful formula. I find them to be very thin, they're not sticky, they layer with powder beautifully, and they are truly a product that does well on my lips and my cheeks. I have purchased, I wanna say every shade, I think there's 11 colors. I think I have everything but one, and I purchased them myself. But this new shade, 63, is just a stunning kind of like natural color. If you look at their original colors, they have a lot of brighter ones, which speak to me, obviously, like these really neon corals and pinks. So I think that this was really necessary for them to come out with some more muted tones. And this brick brown I thought was going to be too dark for me, but 2 little dots, and it really does make me look like I have that like sunburnt look. So I just love this formula so much. I talk about it ad nauseum because it is that good. It is one of those formulas that I would fight to the death if somebody tried to take this out of my collection. It just would not happen. And then I wanted to mention this again because I feel like this product is a hidden gem. The ABH Magic Touch Blush Trio. I would like to see more colors of this. So this is the pink one. If you love a baby doll cheek, I'm telling you, run to get this. This is a very intense, pigmented matte formula. It almost reminds me of like stage makeup because it's just so different than everything we're seeing on, you know, the market. Everything that's so glowy and dewy and sheer. This is not that. This is intense, really gives you that beautiful, beautiful baby doll cheek. And every time I wear this, people are questioning what's on my cheeks. So I highly recommend that. Of course, I had to rave about the Glossier blushes. I purchased 5 different shades. I think this is such a beautiful formula. I also really like how the packaging has the color on the outside. It just makes it easy if you want to grab one color or the other. And this formula is really interesting because it has that sort of cream to powder feel. It has a really nice like silicone slip to it though. So I find that it's quite buildable, and it has this really beautiful blurring property to it. It's not drying by any means, but it's so incredibly thin and lightweight. It feels like a silicone powder on your fingertips. It just gives you that beautiful flush of color, and it just looks stunning. All of the shades look beautiful. Even this shade Billow, which looks a little bit more scary on the cheeks, it just looks really pretty and kind of livens up the face. So I highly recommend this if you want something that is going to blur your skin. If you like to use blushes all across your face for that like sunburnt look, and you don't want something that's going to enhance your texture or cling and get too pigmented, I think this is a really beautiful option. Moving on to highlighter, I have one new one that has absolutely blown me away, and then one oldie but goodie. So I do have to recommend the new Givenchy highlighters. I was worried because I didn't know if these were gonna be really subtle or glittery, but they are neither. I would say my top recommendation is this rosy gold. So I'm wearing it right now, and there's just something about this formula that is weightless. There isn't any glitter particles that are dusting all over your skin. It doesn't have this thick feel that gives you a stripe on your face. It just looks kind of like lit from within and just seamless. I don't know how to describe this formula because when you do swatch it, it has a drier feel, but that translates on the skin to really kind of melting into whatever you have on top. So it's absolutely beautiful. And if you want something that's a little bit more funky, I did get the lilac pink. I don't know if I would rebuy this one because I just find that the rosy gold is so beautiful. And I have my eye on, I think there's like a champagne gold that I also want to grab, but I believe that high-end luxury brands know how to do highlighters because I also have to rave about my original. This little baby has been through it. I mean, I've dropped it. I'm missing a chunk out of this one, and I'm getting dangerously low on the gold shade, but this is just top tier. And I would say only the Universal 001 because they do have different versions, and some of them are like sheer or duochrome, or they have glitter specks. I wish they would just stick to the original because this is truly top drawer, holy grail. You're gonna fight me over this, okay? So if you're looking for some really beautiful highlighters, these would be my top picks. Now let's talk eyeshadow palettes. So I have a few to share, and then I also have some toppers that I have to shout out. But my top eyeshadow pick would be the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes palette. I absolutely love this. These mattes blend like butter, truly. They are so stunning. And then the shimmers are really glittery if you like that sparkled effect. I don't have them on today, but I was wearing this in a recent video just with the mattes, and I got so many compliments. These shades are just stunning, the mattes in particular, but if you want a really glittery topper vibe, I think you would also love this. So this was, I wanna say, his first palette ever, or his first like shimmer and matte palette, and he brought it back by popular demand. I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy it. So this, absolutely beautiful. And then I do have to rave about these Dolce & Gabbana Ever Icon palettes. The packaging is a weapon, and we like to talk about this. This is a weapon. Do not come close to me when I'm holding this because bad things can happen. I mean, it is weighted. It's a little gaudy, don't get me wrong, but the formula is incredible. The mattes in here are so buttery. They have this really nice creaminess to them. And then you get two shimmers that are kind of like a standard metallic, but in the center, you have that topper. So it is very similar to a Patrick Ta topper, if you know what I'm talking about, that really gorgeous like glitter topper. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. And then I also have the Cool Tone palette. Again, I purchased these myself, and this one actually has only 2 matte shades, 3 metallics, and then again, that topper. I know they do have like a rosy version as well, but if you're looking for incredible quality shadows, I know that you would love these. And I have to say that I love the color stories because that's what I'm gonna reach for most days. I like that they have a cool tone, kind of a rosy, neutral, and then an actual like warm tone palette. So do not sleep on these. These are new to Sephora, and I'm hoping now that they're at Sephora, people are gonna buy them and get use out of them, and then they'll be talked about more because they do deserve it. And then the last palette is this Danessa Myricks Freedom palette. So I purchased this, and I have to say, wow, this is so stunning. The mattes are incredibly pigmented, like scary level pigment, but they blend out effortlessly. And then you do have this incredible metallic, and then almost like a foiled topper that is like foil. Literally, it's like liquid metal. Insanity. So I think this is a fun little palette if you like to do like smoky eyes, or if you just want something neutral for every day. So I think this is gorgeous if you want to do those really intense like smoky eyes with a metallic lid. And I really love her formula. I would like to see more palettes from Danessa in a smaller fashion like this, like more wearable, maybe like similar to the color stories of the Dolce & Gabbana, but in her formula. And if you are a sparkle glitter lover, I have to rave about 2 different toppers. This is a new one to me, but I purchased it to try, and immediately I was floored. I'm actually gonna take my little hand thing off because I have to swatch this for you in real time. So this is the Bobbi Brown Brilliant Moonstone Eye Shimmer Stick. It looks very similar to the Danessa Myricks. I didn't know what to expect, but look at this swatch. Like one swipe, it's insane. It is very similar to the Danessa Myricks in the finish and just how it applies. It's very thin. It has that cooling feel. I would say it's a little bit more smooth than the Danessa, and this shade in particular is more glitter focused rather than a foil. So it doesn't have as much of a base color, but more scattered glitter. So I tried it today with my fingertip and just like scattered it on my lid. And I don't know if it's going to pick up on camera because I'm trying to play around with different ways to use this. I love like a scattered glitter, but not necessarily a full foil all the time. But this truly wowed me. Like the first time I used it, I was impressed. So I highly recommend checking these little things out if you like something super intense. And then in the same vein, the Danessa Myricks is very, very similar, except for you get 2. You get a metallic, which doesn't have as much oomph, but it has, you know, that base pigment. And then you have the foiled side of the Danessa. again, similar, but if you can tell, this has, you know, the same amount of shine, maybe a little bit less, but it has more base pigment. So it's more of like a foil metallic, whereas the Bobbi Brown has more glitter throughout. Hopefully you'll be able to see in the swatches. But again, if you love the Danessa Myricks, I would say the Bobbi Brown is so similar, but more glittery and a little bit smoother. I love both of these. I had to recommend them both because these are, you know, some of the only eye toppers that don't disrupt any powder you have underneath, that wear all day and give you literally liquid metal on your lids. A new mascara that stands out to me has to be this Urban Decay Tube Job Tubing Mascara. I instantly fell in love with this because it gives me such nice volume and length. It doesn't weigh my lashes down because I don't find it to be like a thick, heavy formula. It's super easy to remove because it is a tubing mascara, but I find that it really does hold my lashes up throughout the day. So if I apply this and then curl my lashes once they set, I find that it does just hang on and doesn't droop. And that's my biggest issue with mascaras. And it doesn't get clumpy. I can build it, but really after like 2 coats, it just gives me the lift that I'm looking for. So I've been impressed by this honestly since the first time I tried it. And I just think that it's a really easy everyday formula that I don't really have to fuss with. Next, let's talk about lip balms because I actually have a couple new ones and then a couple that I just have to rave about again. I absolutely love these softening balms from Edam. These are the new colors, Chateau Rose and Sakura Shaved Ice. Absolutely gorgeous. These are perfection. They are so high shine. They're thick, but I don't find them to be sticky per se. And I love these colors. They smell incredible. One of these smells like lemon meringue pie. It is delightful. And they have that metal tip. So this is supposed to be a softening balm. I think it has some actives in it to smooth your lips. And I do find that it does feel like it's doing a little bit of softening and smoothing, but I just love these colors. They're so pretty. So highly recommend those. And then if you want something that is more nourishing, this is the Made Beauty Balm. So I have the clear, it's kind of like a yellow clear, but they sent me some other shades, very similar with the tip, that cooling nice tip, but this one has more of a balmy feel. Again, it's quite thick, but it really coats your lips. So it's just a different feel than the Edam. I would use this more when I'm, you know, at home. Like I have one of these on my coffee table. So when I'm, you know, sitting and watching TV, I can reapply if my lips are dry. This would be something I would also wear before bed. Whereas the Edam, I would wear out and, you know, to have the pretty color. But Made, I think, came out with some new shades. They have some really nice, like Your Lips But Better, deeper shades. So if you are tan or darker complected, they have a lot of beautiful shades. And then my holy grail for intense moisture, the one that I use before bed, has to be the Ole Henriksen. This is very thick. It is sticky. So unlike these other ones, they're thick but not sticky. This one is actually sticky, but I find that it really gives me nice hydration. My favorite has to be the Vanilla Bonbon. It smells incredible. Now this is more of a sheer formula, so it's not gonna give you intense color payoff, but they all do smell delightful. I also have Strawberry Sorbet. So this would be my pick if you said like my lips are screaming and I need hydration. This would be my top hydration. And then I did have to just reiterate it for those of you that missed it. If you've not tried the Wise Beauty lip balms, you are missing out if you love a lip balm that is glossy, not sticky, and has color. This is my go-to for when I feel like I'm looking literally casket ready and I'm fighting for my life. I need something to wake me up. I will reach for one of these because the pigment just brings me to life. These are so stunning. Again, not the most hydrating like the Ole Henriksen, but they have the pigment. So these would be a formula that I would keep in my purse for touch-ups or when, again, I'm just fighting for my life and I'm looking in the mirror looking like a corpse and I need to be revived. This will do it. I mean, I'm telling you, I was on vacation. We were driving to North Carolina and I literally looked in the mirror and like jump scared because we'd been driving for like 9 hours. I applied this color and just, you know, blurred it on my lips and it was like, oh, like I came back to reality, okay? These are incredible. Nobody talks about them, but I will continue because they are that good. If you want a lip balm that actually has some pigment and looks different from all the other shades, this would be the one. I'm still absolutely loving these same lip liners, but I do have a couple new shades. So this Toasty from Makeup by Mario is something that came out and I must have missed it and he brought it back. It is so beautiful. It's what I'm wearing right now, but this formula is just perfection. You can see that I also have the shade Travis. I have done a number on this one. This formula is just pigmented. It doesn't slip and slide. It lasts. You have the ability to blend it out because you do actually have a brush on the other side. I just find the colors to be gorgeous. So many different tones, undertones, and truly just one of the easiest formulas to work with. Whether you like to smudge it or build it up, it is just perfection. And then the ABH. I feel like these are not talked about enough. If you want some grungy colors, they have really been bringing out some bangers. So I have 4 new ones, but honestly, I own like 15 colors at this point. So many cool tones coming out, like Stormy, I think is one of them. It's giving very similar to MAC Stone, but even lighter and more grayish. This formula is a standard pencil. I would say it is a little bit more dry than the Makeup by Mario, so a little bit less room to smudge. You still can, but you gotta work before it sets, but they last all day. I find that this is a really nice formula if you want precision because of how dry it is. I would say it's like in between the Mario and a MAC. If you've ever tried a MAC pencil, sometimes they can be a little bit too dry where I can't get pigment. These, you get that pigment once it kind of hits the skin, but you have a lot of control. And again, the colors, the undertones, I would say even more options, more unique options with the ABH. So 10 out of 10, no notes. Moving on to lipstick, I only have 1 new formula and then 1 that I really want to rave about again, but this is the Westman Atelier Lip Suede Matte Lipstick. I have the color Lacquer, so I bought this in store because this is such a unique color. It has this coral peach, like strong orangey undertone, but I find that it's so pretty when I feel like I just look a little bit too muted and I need some warmth. I love the formula too because it has that like powdery set down, but it's not dry. So if you've ever tried the Huda Beauty, I think they were like the powdery matte formula, it's similar to that where it feels weightless on the lips and it gives you that like soft blurred powdered look, but it's not drying, and the packaging is like luxe. So beautiful. I would love to get more colors, but I feel like this is the only color that's like light enough and speaks to me. So highly recommend that formula if you can find, you know, colors you like. And then this is one of my most used lipsticks. I just have to rave about these again. The Lip Velvets from ABH are so beautiful. They're so pigmented. Again, it's like a soft matte. This is a whipped sort of feel, and then you just blend it on your lips and it sets into this like secure, soft, matte, powdered look. But again, I don't find this to be clinging or drying. It's not gonna be something that's gonna give you moisture, but it's not as drying as like a liquid lipstick, you know, from the 2016 days, if you know what I'm talking about, but these wear. So if I was going to a wedding or I really needed my makeup to last, these are my go-to, and my top 2 are Kiss and also Crush. So beautiful. These truly have never left my top drawer. I have raved about them for years and they are that good. Now in terms of lip gloss, I only have 1 new, but 2 others that I want to mention again. If you've ever seen Bethany Frankel, every time I say mention, I just think of her like, mention it all. It's literally iconic and it just loops in my brain on repeat. But I have 1 new one. This is brand spanking new. This is the YSL lip oil, but this color is so beautiful. This is the shade 10, which is a new color that was brought out. And I thought initially that this was going to be the holiday color that they released, but this one is like a stunning pink sparkle. It is so beautiful. It just gives you this gorgeous shine to the lips. This is a plumping formula, but I find that it's a tolerable plumping formula. So it's not like my lips are on fire. It's more of like a little bit of a buzzing feel, but you can see that I already am getting some of that plumping effect. I just like the glossiness and the color. I love a sparkly gloss, and I like that you can actually see it. And then a standout for me that I have top drawer are these Dior Maximizers. These are such unique colors. This is not a sticky formula. It is so beautiful and milky on the lips. It has a minty smell to it, but I would say there's like no buzzing or really any noticeable plumping, but the colors are just so unique. I absolutely love this lilac one. Every time I wear it, I get asked about it. And then this coral one, again, very similar to the Westman Atelier. I like to reach for it when I want some warmth or I feel like things are just too muted. So highly recommend this formula. I'm hoping that some of the new Dior shades are going to end up at Sephora because I want to purchase some. And then this is a hidden gem, again, I hear no one talk about, but this color, this extra pink in the Valentino Puffer Gloss is so pretty. This is what I was wearing during the video before I applied the YSL, but this is a hidden gem if you're looking for a milky baby pink gloss. This is different though because I feel like a lot of the milky glosses that you can find are almost like NARS Turkish Delight or something that's like almost like a really baby creamy pink. This one has a little bit more oomph to it. It's more of like a Barbie pink. So it's quite unique in my collection. It has a nice amount of pigment to it, and it is a really interesting gel type of formula. It just glides on the lips and again adds that beautiful pink hue. So every time I wear this, people ask me what I'm wearing on my lips because it is very unique to my collection. So highly recommend this. I also have a shimmery shade, which I think is pretty, but this is definitely a standout for those of you that like baby pink colors like I do. And the last makeup item that isn't new, but I feel so strongly about it that I have to mention it. This is the One Size Powder Melt Setting Spray. This is so unique. It really does just blend all your powders in, gives you a stunning glow without having that stickiness, without making your makeup separate. It just makes you look hydrated. Even if you're someone like me that uses a ton of powder, it brings your skin back to life. And that's what I love about it. There is something special about this because it just doesn't disrupt your makeup. You don't get droplets, and it doesn't affect the wear of your makeup, but it truly changes the finish if you feel like you've gone a little bit too heavy with the powder, which I'm definitely guilty of. If you just saw like clumps of hair fly by, I'm petting Kennedy and it's all over. Pretty soon it's gonna be in my lip gloss, but had to mention this again. It was unavailable for a long time, but it is back now, and getting it during the sale is the perfect time. I also have to shout out my favorite brush at Sephora. I have purchased, I think like 4 or 5 now. This is my most used brush. It is so unique and so useful, especially if you're traveling. So this brush from Makeup by Mario, this is the F4. It's incredible. If you want something that's going to do everything in one, you could do your foundation, concealer, liquid bronzer, liquid blush, liquid highlighter. You can set with powder. I mean, truly, this is a game changer. So when I travel, I usually just pack a few of these because they are just universal. I like to use the fluffy side for my cream bronzer and then the smaller side for my cream blush. It just gives you the perfect blend. I cannot rave about this enough, and it's one of those products that I bought 1, I bought 2, I bought 3 because every time that this brush is dirty, I'm digging for my other one. So definitely recommend this. This is a standout brush in my collection. I have a couple of body products that I have to rave about, especially because Cycler is now available at Sephora. So I highly recommend checking them out if you've been curious. My top pick is their In Shower Body Oil Balm. So I have this in Vanilla Verve, which is in my other shower. And then this is the Sacred Santal, which is my favorite. The scents from Cycler are incredible. They're kind of a mixture of salt and stone, and Sol de Janeiro. So they have that like gourmand kind of feel, but a little bit elevated. So this is my favorite scent, and then Vanilla Verve would be second. This is a phenomenal product. If you're lazy, you don't like to apply your lotion, I definitely can be lazy. Take this in the shower with you. When you're done showering, turn your water off, and then just apply this to your wet skin, and then just get out of the shower and, you know, towel dry as normal. And it just coats the skin in this gorgeous, really kind of glowy but not greasy hydration. It smells divine, truly divine. Like I can't describe it. You just have to trust me on it. It is a game changer. And then I had to rave about their shower gels. So these are my two favorites. I have about half left of the Vanilla Verve and then the Sacred Santal. They are so thick and they almost feel like they're really packed with like glycerin because they lather incredibly well. Literally like 2 or 3 pumps does your whole body, and they smell so good. They have this nice like moisturizing feel to them, so they don't strip your skin. I just cannot rave about these enough. I've been raving about them for a while, but I'm so happy to see them at Sephora now. And then I did have to shout out this again in a similar vibe. This is the Sol de Janeiro shower oil. This gives you that really nice like syrupy, oily feel, so it's quite hydrating. It smells unbelievable. Like I need Sol de Janeiro to come out with more scents in this because it is just hydrating, lathers beautifully, smells incredible. So I highly recommend this. It's something that I have repurchased for years. And to finish off this video, I just have a couple hair products that are new and I want to rave about. So this Color Wow Texas Hold'em hairspray really wowed me. If you like a Kenra hairspray, this has a similar vibe to that. It really does a great job at holding the hair and keeping it in place because I do have cowlicks and I also have a widow's peak. It's a whole thing. And this does a great job at keeping my bangs out of my face. It's not, you know, a miracle worker. I still do have my battles, but I find that it's a really nice formula for keeping it in place without being sticky, and I am able to brush through it without ripping my hair out. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. It's a really good hold without becoming like stiff. So I really, really like this. And then I've talked about this on my community tab, but I just have to tell you how impressed I am with the Shark Glossy. I purchased this because I saw it on sale and I had heard some people rave about it. The reviews were really good. I have never really liked a round brush tool because my hair gets tangled in it and it rips my hair out. But this is truly a game changer. I purchased it. I told my friend it was on sale. She purchased it, literally fell in love with it, like immediately, both of us. She didn't even bring her Dyson on vacation. This was the only tool she brought. So it has almost like these irons here that kind of smooth the hair with these bristles, and then the round brush side. You can do this on wet hair, which you can click down here. It'll say wet or dry, or you can do it on dry hair. So for me, this is perfect when my hair is a little bit damp and I just want to smooth it out. It just grabs the hair effortlessly. It glides through this side and then it really smooths and kind of like flat irons it on this side. And then you can turn it on the dry mode and really get that like curled kind of blowout look. It is just a game changer. I cannot tell you how impressed I am with this. It does not grab on my hair. It does not pull it out. It truly is the easiest round brush that I've ever used, truly. And I saw when I was browsing Sephora that they have something like this with a flat iron and a whole, you know, a whole system, like a Dyson Airwrap. There's so many versions, I can't keep up with it, but I definitely have my eye on that because of how much I have loved this Shark Glossy. So I think that is everything. I'm probably forgetting some things. I'm also gonna leave some links of other products, maybe like some older palettes that I still love, maybe a couple hair care products or skincare that hasn't changed, but I didn't want to be too repetitive and I really wanted to focus on the products that are like standing out to me that I'm like, you need it. Add it to your cart, thank me later. So let me know what you are picking up if you're shopping this sale, and let me know what products you're eyeing and you're kind of on the fence about, because I definitely have some in my cart that I'm like, do I really need that? Do I really want that? I also have like a huge Sephora haul coming. I have been bad and purchased some stuff before the sale, and then I'm going to make an order or 3 during the sale. So I will have everything linked down below. Videos should be coming your way. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, I hope you stick around and subscribe. As always, thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.